Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. We are back again today, of course, working on the Rav4. We're really enjoying it. We know you are enjoying it as well. And we've heard from a lot of you saying that the platform is actually really underrepresented when it comes to performance modifications. Why is that so, Martin?
I guess because it's an SUV. Like, it's a soft roader, and I guess they're not cool, but as these cars move into like nuggetry and cheap territory and parts have sort of bottomed out and everything, I reckon that's what there's a lot of fun to be found there. It's the same with the Camry. It's not really worth that much. It's still a very capable car. They're modern, they're comfy, aircon, all the stuff that you need for a daily. But you can chuck some cheap turbo parts on them and have an awesome car.
I think as well there's this massive proliferation of people doing really expensive, really detailed builds. And people think that if they're not going to do that, it's not worth it. It's like when you see an Instagrammer and they got their six packs and all this stuff. It's like, why even start exercising? I'm never going to look like that. But actually, if you get onto your websites, your marketplaces and stuff like that, there's cheap cars, there are bargains to be had. And the reason today is such an exciting day is because we're going to turn the key and start it. Today's the day it will breathe into life. You'll all see it working.
Careful.
And what?
We always say it's going to start, and it doesn't always start, does it? We're going to start the car today. I can't remember what series it was like 4 in a row. We're like, it's starting, and then it's starting, it's still not starting.
That was the car's fault. It is going to start today.
All right.
If it doesn't start, I'm giving Marty 10,000 pesos, 100%, straight up. So anyway, enjoy this episode. It's going to be mad. Run the graphics.
So here's what's happened so far. We spent an entire day yesterday doing the clutch and also trying to get it started. Dave finished off all the wiring as best as he possibly could, but
what a legend.
My fuel system did fail. I finally worked out first thing this morning. I was trying to sleep last night and trying to work it out in my brain and finally figured it out that it was something internal. As soon as I came in this morning and pulled it apart, this is what happened. What's gone wrong, people? It's just frothing out of there. That's why I couldn't get any fuel pressure. That's right, it's just pissing fuel from inside the enclosure. There was actually physical damage somehow to the pump itself.
Somehow.
So it wasn't going up through the actual outlet.
Somehow, Martin, you broke it.
I don't know how though.
I know.
So there's a big chunk of plastic just missing off it, and so the fuel was just Wi-Fi and just spraying onto the plug, electrical plug, which is not great.
How good's it looking down here though, mate? You got your intake pipe happening, turbos there. Like it's looking fantastic.
It's nearly ready to have its intercooler bolted on, and then that will actually look pretty much how it's going to look. We still have to drill this out so we get some air.
Yes. First thing tomorrow is going down to the exhaust shop for a full exhaust, and then do all the other service bits and pieces as well. So I'm going to go down to Supercheap Auto and buy a bunch of stuff. Marty's going to reattach the intake, which has fallen off, and then do the intercooler as well. And then we'll come back shortly and continue it. I'm actually really liking it.
This is how they should have come from the factory.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon?
No, I do, and we could pretty much say that for almost every car we work on.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean? It's like
an up.
Every Civic should have been K-swapped.
Yes.
Every up should be a GTI.
Yes.
But more people buy the other one than the good one.
More people buy Ravs than any of those cars combined. Oh, I don't know, Civic's pretty up there. Ravs and Civics would be close.
The next thing I'm doing today is heading to Supercheap Auto to pick up some bits and pieces that we need for our Rav34 build. All right, I've come down to Supercheap Auto. I'm in the Chatswood store. I've got to get a bunch of stuff for the car, like filters and oil, but also want to get some kind of four-wheel drivey stuff, like get a rack for the top. Hey, mate, how you doing? How you doing?
Good.
I'm making a video. What's your name?
Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Keep it chopped.
Yeah, keep everything chopped. Do you have roof baskets? Roof box things? Castrol Edge. So for this build, we are going to be using some 5W40, which is that. And actually, when we're getting these, we usually buy one for whatever project we need, and then we just have another one because you always need it for something. Plus, it'll inspire you to actually do an oil change. It's an easy thing to do. Get good quality oil, get a filter, and if you've got a spare couple of hours, like it is probably the easiest thing you can do to ensure the longevity and maintenance of your car. There's lots of videos about how to do it yourself, lots of information online. So grab some oil, change your oil, and grab an oil filter while you're at it. I've found this light bar which is going to be perfect when we take our car off-road because you are watching the world's best four-wheel driving channel, and being able to see on country roads at night will help us dodging roos and drop bears. I've also found this roof cage to install which will help us carry all of our camping stuff off-road. Thank you, boys.
No worries.
How old were you when you first saw an episode of Mighty Car Mods?
I would have been about 12 years old.
How old are you now?
20.
Yeah, what about you?
10 years old, zombie proof.
10 years old, zombie, what about you?
Probably about 12 years old, the Subaru iPad install.
Yeah. And me, Oh wait, I was in the first video, so yeah, 16 years ago. Thanks, boys. Supercheap Auto Chatswood, by the way, they're awesome. Come and see the boys. And unless they get fired, which I don't think they will because they're MVPs, I mean, they're basically celebrities because you're watching them on YouTube right now. Come see the boys, they know where it's at. All right, bye.
Now I've worked out where the intercooler and intake are going to go, I can install the silicone joiners so we can prepare to start this thing. The pipes are all recycled off the Camry, and with a few small changes they fit really nicely. Have we mentioned yet that top mount intercoolers suffer from heat soak? Yep, this one's going to as well, so we're going to have to get a lot of air through it to keep the intake temps down. Next we can stick our wheels back on, get the car rolling again, and get it loaded onto a tow truck. We're going to head down to Castle Hill Exhaust so they can work some magic. While pipes out the bonnet are fun, they're also a little bit antisocial on those cold morning starts, and we reckon we can make good power with an exhaust that exits out the back where it's supposed to. Resonator, muffler, 3-inch the whole way, mild steel, because mild steel sounds mad and it's nice and quick to do, so we can get out of Chris's face pretty easily. And then we've got a little cat converter as well.
100 cell.
It's going to be good. So this bit of what Chris is doing is actually where the genius is. You can weld a thing, you can join 2 bits of metal together, but he can see it, like in advance. I can kind of see it, he can see the whole thing. It's very impressive, mate. This is what, a couple of thousand exhaust systems. Are we in the tens of thousands yet?
Oh, I reckon we're very close.
Yes.
Power and muscle, no fear in my eyes. From ashes we rise. Opposition don't faze me. Look how they made me. They look at me crazy, but I'm built for this crazy. Yeah, third world struggle breeds character. Program to break barriers, focus and block out the noise. All of these hurdles are fuel for the ploys. They don't care about what you did, they only care about what you're doing. So we don't ever get complacent, but we don't worry about who we facing. Get out the way, get ran over, we fight through the pain till it's all over. We ain't cut the same, don't stop for the rain. Let it be freezing, the pouring insane. I work too hard, I pay my dues to get this far. I ain't come to lose, beaten and bruised, blood on my shoes. Circle of winners, which side will you choose? Underestimate me, that won't ever break me. That will only take me where I need to be. It's a hard climb, and I've been waiting. No more complaining, no time remaining. Keep pushing hard, victory lap. Only go forward, there's no looking back. It's a killer instinct, it's time to attack. You better strap up and brace for impact. We back, this is my hustle. Power and muscle, no fear in my eyes. From ashes we rise. Opposition don't face me. Look how they made me. They look at me crazy. Never get rattled, but I'm built for this place.
Chris has finished tacking it in, so we essentially have an exhaust. Now what happens?
Now we just have to do some brackets, pull the exhaust down, weld it all up, refit it, we're good to go.
Weld on the bench and then it's back in and done, right?
Yep.
Professional, love it.
Where does pure function end and art begin? It's easy to overlook the mechanical nature of working on cars as just a utilitarian job, but there is a line that's crossed into something more special when a master of their craft is on the tools, and that is the case right now with Chris, who's been working on our car exhausts for years, and his work is absolutely stunning. A custom exhaust for your car is a proper treat, and as we often find when we're working on these cheaper nuggets, a bond starts to form between human and machine, and already we're beginning to feel like this little car is going to be something really special.
So next step is to paint the exhaust. It is mild steel, so if we paint it black, it'll kind of disappear under the car, which is what I want, but also to help it to last longer. The dump pipe is still stainless, and so is the cat, so I can not paint them if I want. And then we can put it back onto the car, and as a bonus, it looks like we might be able to try and start it and move it under its own power. So far we've had to push it, which is really annoying, but there was an air temp sensor missing, which I've now put in. And Dale is actually here as well, so he said he'd give me a hand just to check the numbers on the Haltech and make sure it's going to work. Then, next step, I don't even know what the next step is, but soon it's going to be dyno, alignment, test drive, make it look cool. We've got heaps to do, but I'm very happy that we've got the exhaust done.
Stainless steel is the ultimate way to build a custom exhaust, but mild steel does keep the cost down, and you can also MIG weld it, which saves time. Some black paint will help it last a bit longer, especially over the welds, which will corrode quick if left uncovered. The system is a huge upgrade over stock. It's 3 inches the whole way through, which will have plenty of flow to get our spent exhaust gases out of the turbo and out the back of the car.
exhaust is all done and installed, so now it's time to put the Rav34 on a trailer back to Supergarage. Alright, so the Rav4, which from this point onwards will be known as the Rad4, had the exhaust put on. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to hear the exhaust yet. Amazing job, but now the car's broken.
Well, yeah, I think it's a wiring gremlin, which is the good news, because the only thing missing was the air temp sensor, which you do need for it to all work. This is the same kind of engine as the Camry had, meaning the map that we did for the Camry should work, but there's differences like drive-by-wire instead of a cable throttle. But to get the air temp working, I had to wire in the air temp, but when I plugged in the air temp, it stopped the throttle working. So that was half a day of messing around, which I'll spare you. But
That's a weird one though, isn't it?
Real weird.
That's a weird one.
It's a grounding issue. And so when that happens, I like to go back to basics, remove it and go again, rather than keep like twitching with wires. So I rang Dave and he's like, it's an earthing issue, you just have to suss it out. So I did, and now it should start, but it hasn't actually started yet properly. So this will be our first start. So we'll do some fiddling on the computer and get all our fuel numbers right and all that sort of stuff. We'll be able to use a lot of the Camry stuff, which is great, and then hopefully we'll be able to run it. It should run.
Cool. Well, do you want to open your laptop?
Reds, please.
We've been pushing hard to get this little nugget working, and so far it's played nice. But starting it with its new turbo heart and programmable brain is the next big step.
Give that a crack. Cranks? It sounds like it's got compression.
Sounds good.
Which shouldn't have gone away since last time, but also when you mess with an engine that much, things fall into things. We've got air temp, press the throttle to the floor. Yeah, throttle's working now. Before we would just stick on 100% when that sensor was wrong.
Oh yeah, okay, so we can see the throttle position here.
We've got air temp, 19 degrees. We've got our throttle at 100%. So now, if we restart it, now it should go.
Well done, mate. That's awesome. Rad4, everybody.
Do you know what I love about that? Because it's drive-by-wire, it idles. We don't have to mess with screws, we don't have to mess with pumps, it just goes, I need this much throttle to idle. And now that's all Camry map.
That's amazing.
We could probably drive it, but we need to like make sure it's actually got like fluids and stuff in it first.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's got engine oil. I don't know about the driveline. That's great. Next step will be dyno.
There's a few extra sensors that I'd like to have working so we can monitor the health of that old Rav4 engine. So they're being installed and they're being wired. And while that's happening, I'm going to replace these ugly, faded, old yellow headlights. Now you could polish these of course with some avocado or some toothpaste or some urine. You could even go as bold as doing them with actual polish. But it does look like they've been done quite a few times already. And you know what's great about Rav4s, apart from how popular they are for a little late night dog walking that is, it's that parts are dirt cheap and you can pick up a couple of headlights for only a couple of $100, brand spanking new. The old headlights are out and they're in the bin. The new ones are in and they are looking fantastic. Next thing, I'm going to remove this weird blue bulbous thing and stick that in the bin as well. Alright, let's talk wheels. One of the unique features about these wheels, which are the Enkei GTC01, is that they've got two valve stems. Why? Dunno. You tell me. But we needed a fifth wheel. Why do we need a fifth one? Because while we got 4 running on the car, we wanted the spare to be one of these as well. Turns out you can't actually get them. And then on Facebook Marketplace, we found one. This came off a crashed car. It is fully curved, like every single part of it. It looks fairly dull compared to the other. It's a 19-inch wheel, but it is the same model wheel. You've got the 2 valve stems there as well, and we're going to mount this on the back, and that means the whole car just kind of has a bit of a cohesive look. So if we stick this one over here and get this one up on the back of the car, it just means the look of that is going to be kind of, it makes a nice holistic picture with the rest of the build, because that there looks the same as the car. It's just kind of, I don't know, looks kind of badass, kind of JDM, kind of cool. So we're going to put that on there. And then we're going to move on to a very exciting part of the build, which is chopping out the bonnet scoop so it actually becomes functional. We are making great progress, people. The list of things to do is getting shorter. Top mount is on, fan is on, and that's kind of what we got to work on now to make sure we get some air in there, because there is a diesel version of this car that actually is turbo, but not this one. This is just parts bin. I don't know if you remember from our Jimny build,
But the K version of those are turbo, but all the ones we get in Australia with 1.3 are not, but they just blank off the scoop. We're gonna de-blank it.
We just got a diesel bonnet essentially, but that comes out that way, like that. And there it is. It's just a block of something. I noticed even this thing it's just gonna heat soak. It's just gonna get hot. It sits on top of a hot engine, a hot manifold, hot air coming out of everywhere. When the scoop is open, and that's a pretty big gap there, it's gonna get a lot of air, especially if we sort of shroud it a little bit and try and force the air through the intercooler, like a WRX or an STI would have. But this is gonna be sitting around a lot, and when it is, the fan, the Haltech will trigger it at certain temperatures and at certain road speeds, which is really cool, so it's all automatic. So when you're idling or you're stopped and it's hot, it's gonna turn the fan on and try and suck air through the scoop in here and out there. So it's worth a shot. This fan actually came on an oil cooler that we got a while back. I think it might have been for the Camry, but I borrowed it and inserted it onto the cooler. So it wrecks the look a little bit, but functionally it's gonna be excellent. There's only a few little things on our list left to go, like fixing the screamer pipe, making this work, putting the pipes back on here, and then we might be ready to go. The dyno is less than
12 hours?
It's 12 hours until the dyno.
And we'd like to be sleeping for at least 8 of those 12 hours.
Definitely, so let's get it done.
Awesome. All right, let's chop this. Chop, 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 chop. All right, that's it, you mad dogs. This is done. And now ready for the dyno.
In line, no doubt, our world will